And we're back with the third and final video in this series of the most unique dolls in my collection. I first want to say a huge thank you to everyone who has shown this series so much love. It means the world to me. And I want to let people know, if you are new to my channel, that this is by no means my entire doll collection. I have over 100 reborn/silicone dolls, and so this is just a few of them in these 3 videos. It is by no means my entire collection or even my entire fantasy collection. Most of my collection is monster/fantasy/alternative, and these are just some of the really stand out, very very different than even normal alternative dolls that people tend to have in their collections. So I just wanted to share them with you because I think they're really, really amazing. So here you're seeing Whimsy. Whimsy is a full body silicone baby dragon. He is around newborn size, although I usually won't put any clothes on him because he just is so adorable, his little naked self, and I don't want to hide any of his cool details by putting clothes over them. Plus he's got those wings, and that makes it a little bit tricky. But Whimsy was created by Lori Roy of LR Design Studios. Incredible artist, wonderful to work with. I can't speak highly enough of her and her work. He is actually my second full body fantasy creature from Lori. I had a full body silicone baby unicorn, and that was the first doll that I got from her. So I knew that I definitely wanted one of these dragons when I saw her coming out with the sculpt. So he is a custom order of the Inferno sculpt. I apologize, I can't remember the edition number or how many of these little dragons there are, but he was custom made for me. I chose this turquoise blue color, which is my favorite color, for the most of his body and his eyes, and then with the purple accents. But he is just so cool. He's the perfect little baby dragon. I love all of his details. I love his little axolotl-like ears he has going on, and his little claws, and his big old feet. He reminds me of, if you've ever seen a puppy that is going to eventually be a very large breed dog, they're kind of awkward and they have these huge paws, and I feel like that would be the case with him. Someday he'll be a huge big dragon, but right now he's just a baby with these big old feet. But he's so adorable with his little spots on his bum and the top of his tail and his little striped belly. And he does have movement with his head. It does move back and forth, and he has an open mouth, although I usually won't put a pacifier in or do anything like that because I'm too paranoid and afraid of causing any damage to him. I would be absolutely heartbroken. Look at those feet. They're huge. It's just so perfect. So yeah, he is a full body silicone, and he usually is just like this. When I have him out, he doesn't, maybe I'll put a scarf on him or a little Christmas hat, but he's just fabulous in his little dragon birthday suit. But I really, really love her work. She has some very unique pieces, and I love her imagination. And I knew as soon as I saw this little guy that I had to have one, and he's just exactly like the day he came home to me. I've never had to powder him. His paint has stayed immaculate. He's just absolute perfection. I love him so very much. Here is Miss Tesla Nicole. She is named after Nikola Tesla, not the car company of the same name, named after the same guy. So it all goes back to him, but just to clarify that real quick. She is a Frankenstein's monster baby. She was created by Twisted Beanstalk Nursery. And I have had other Frankenstein babies in my collection in the past by the same artist. I've had a couple with the green skin tone, which is sort of classic for this style of monster. And she is the one that stayed in my collection. There's just something so unique and cool about her. And I think part of it is I really do love this kit, especially for monsters. I made a Pennywise out of this kit, which I'll have to show at some point again, but it's just such a cute little happy face, and you kind of wonder, like, is she happy to see me? Is she happy because she's about to bite my face off? Like, what exactly is happening? It's just enough of that unsettling, creepy factor that I think it's really cool. So She has the painted on staples sort of holding her together. She has the one black eye and the one sort of human eye, although it's clearly got something going on. It's not the right color, but for a healthy human eye, let's say. But she does have the follow me eye on that side, and so she really does look at you, and that always brings like a new element. It's on another level when they have the follow me eyes. My wear pups also have those, my silicone ones, and it's very to me it's unsettling in a good way because I like creepy things, but it's very it makes your brain think that this is a living thing when its eyes track you, or in this case, I. But I think her paintwork is just absolutely beautiful. The different skin tones, again, it's phenomenal work and phenomenal creativity that went into this doll. And look at her little happy face. She's so cute. She cheers me up on a bad day. I feel like a Frankenstein monster would understand uh, the issues that I have. I have some health issues. I deal with some chronic pain, and she kind of looks like she's barely holding herself together. And I think I have days like that where I feel like my body has betrayed me, and who does it really belong to? Because it's all over the place. So yeah, she's definitely a good bad day baby for when my body is freaking out. Because I feel like she gets it. She understands what's up. But look at that. Look how she follows with her eye. It's so cool. She's such a cool little girl. And I'm just the kind of person that would adopt a little Frankenstein baby or a little zombie. Um, I have just so much love for the monsters, and that's why most of my collection is monsters or alternative dolls of some type, but she's just definitely a favorite. Here is Bunny and Lizzy. I think it's obvious which one is which. I created these two, and I guess you could call them twins, although I'm not sure that really exists with the type of creatures that they are. These two are representative of one of my favorite, I don't know if you'd call it an urban legend or a paranormal phenomenon, but it's called Black Eyed Children, or BEK, and they are entities who often appear, not always, but often appear as younger children. People have reported them coming to their homes at night, usually in the middle of the night, demanding access to their dwelling. They initially are looking down. Oftentimes, people have said they feel immediately upon encountering them, before noticing their completely jet black eyes, which are obviously quite inhuman. Before even noticing that, they feel this deep sense of dread and just terrorizing fear that they can't explain. So you have these children on your doorstep, and for whatever reason, you're terrified of them. You don't really understand what's going on. They're asking for help, and your desire is going to be to help a child in need. However, something inside you is saying, don't do that. Don't let them in. Run. And it's this very, very primal feeling of fear that you are in immediate danger from the way that people describe them. And I have an endless fascination, I always have, with all things paranormal and unexplained. And there's not a lot of information about what these entities are supposed to be, what they are wanting that access to your home for. I don't think they understand. And this is another creepy aspect to them, is often they'll be wearing clothes that are, 20, 30 or more years old, in terms of they're not wearing what modern children would be wearing today. They don't speak like modern children. They don't seem to understand that we no longer live in a society where you need to come into the house to use the phone. It's just very strange. And it sets off, I think, in most of us, alarm bells of something is not quite right. So at some point during these interactions, the children will look up and the person will see that they're very much not a human child. That's usually the point where the person will slam the door and go hide under their kitchen table, and these are tough grown men who have in some of these stories encountered actual combat in the military, and they're terrified of these entities. So there have even been reports of them coming up to people's vehicles when they're on a road trip, or they're parked somewhere in the middle of the night, or they have a big rig and they're sleeping. And I think for me, because I tend to be not easily scared and more curious than afraid, if I were to encounter these entities, these children, I don't think that I would let them in. However, I would want to take out my phone. I would want to record them. I would have some questions as to what is it exactly that they really want? Why are they here? Where are they from? I feel like I would need to know those things, and my need to know would be greater than my fear. So just because I tend to be a person who is not afraid of most things that scare other people. So maybe that's not maybe that's to my detriment. I don't know, but I'm still alive, so it's working for me thus far. But I would definitely be asking some questions. And I have a story on my channel that my friend Kyle recorded. He has actually had an encounter with a black-eyed entity. It was not a child, and it's very different than a lot of the stories that you will hear about these creatures, these cryptids, these monsters, whatever you want to call them. So if you're not easily scared, I would recommend that you check that out, and I will leave the link below in the description. I feel like whatever their true form is, it is not the veneer that they're showing to us, appearing as human children or the most vulnerable of our population. Logically, if you listen to the stories, they seem to need permission from us to do whatever they came here to do. They can't just take it. So for that reason, I definitely think that I would feel safe asking some questions. But I want to hear from you all. What would you do if you encountered these entities on your doorstep in the middle of the night? Next up, we have Blair, and this doll makes some people really mad, which that kind of tickles me a little bit, if I'm honest. First of all, she was created by Cameline Creations, and I have mentioned before that they are my favorite artists. They're a mother-daughter team. I don't know which one is doing which part of each doll, but whatever it is, it's working. These dolls are on another level. The shading on her face that makes her look like the kit is modified has some sculptural elements to it, but it's just paint. I mean, it's like, save some talent for the rest of us, you know what I'm saying? It's just, the art alone is just spectacular, and just, again, on a whole other level from any other artist I've ever seen. And I will probably have many more dolls from Cameline Creations, because it's just, once you have one of their dolls, there's just no going back. I mean, it's that good. But the art part of it aside, Blair is somewhat controversial in terms of how people see her, and I think I have a sort of different take on her. Obviously, it's clear what type of monster she's supposed to be. She is the Exorcist style, and so there is that religious aspect that comes into play when people are discussing her. And to me, I don't see her as something to be pitied or something to be shunned. I think I'm typically not that type of person anyways. I tend to love the unlovable, and I'm very much interested in the villain arc. It's the monsters are the interesting ones in the story. Everybody wants to know, how did they get to that point? What happened to make them this way? No one's quite as interested in the good guy in the story, and I think that that's part of my draw to the whole horror genre and monsters in general, but I tend towards the supernatural rather than the serial killer slasher type of horror. And it's because it's fascinating. It's very interesting to me how all of it works when you're dealing with different rules from a different dimension or a different, you know, you have to learn what the rules are. And that's why supernatural horror fascinates me. But Blair in particular, I really see a strength and a resilience in her. And I think we all have our own monster inside that maybe helps us survive things that are traumatic and very difficult. And I definitely honor my own monster. I think that's the part of me that loves Blair is I know baby Lexi is terrifying. Okay. I know my inner child is scary AF. I have no illusions about that. I've made my peace with it. I've made friends with my monster. And I think the people who are truly dangerous are the people that haven't done that work internally to make friends, make peace with their monster, understand their monster. Because if you don't do that, you run the risk of your monster devouring your entire life. So you got to make friends with your monster. Speaking of monsters, we have Mr. Baby Crocpus here. This is another Camelin Creations doll. And again, there's not enough words and glowing, borderline obsessive praise that I can give to them as artists and these dolls. Crocpus is very special because not only did I follow this kit from when I saw it posted, in clay before it went off to become a kit, and I remember thinking at that time, I was like, there's no way. There's no way that this is really going to become a reborn kit. I am not that lucky. Like, there's no way that something this spectacular is actually going to happen. I was so excited. And I just thought, I don't think there's even enough interest in this legend, this, creature. I thought there's no way that something this fantastic is actually going to become a reborn kit that I'm going to be able to have in my house. Because if you were to sculpt all of that, his amazing tongue, his horns, the ones in front and the big ones in back, his little fingernails, his hooves, like that would be an intensely fragile doll. And it would almost not be worth it because of the stress that it would cause. So the fact that I could have that in vinyl as a kit without having to worry about that fragility, I just didn't think it was going to happen. And at the same time I didn't think it was going to happen, I was praying to the reborn gods, please let this actually become a kit and a doll that I can have in my collection. And here he is. So not only is the kit absolutely insanely perfect for this creature and a baby Crocpus, but the fact that he is done by such an amazingly talented artist. If you were to ask me what is the perfect reborn doll, what does that look like? To me, this is it. It's Crocpus, and it's this one in particular. I believe this is the first one that she made. I snagged him up so fast. Man, I've never messaged someone in Instagram so quickly. As the minute I saw him, I was like, please don't let him be taken. Please, please, please. He's just so perfect. And his like goat eyes that he has that she painted, or they painted. Absolutely. I don't even have words. I'm going to stop trying to even say because it's that good. He's just absolute monstery perfection. And I'm a big fan of the Crocpus legend. I've always been a big fan of it. I think he's not as well known over here as he is in maybe his home country of Austria and Germany, where they have the festivals, and he's a very campy, mischievous type of creature. They call him the Christmas devil, and I think that offends some folks, but that word has a different connotation here in the United States. But I think he's just mischievous perfection, and he will be with me forever. He's one of my very, very favorite dolls. Here is Penny. Penny was created by me. I want to say in like 2016 or 17. It was a while ago. And over the years, a lot of people have asked me if I would sell Penny, and I just cannot do it. She's got, she's like my spirit animal. I mean, look at her. It's just absolutely nuts. Um, Penny was created, well, her head, she has alternate limbs. I have two of this kit in my collection, and one of them is Penny, and the other one is a traditional human style reborn. This is the Jenny kit by Alicia Toner, and it was sculpted to be a Down syndrome uh, kit or a child, and I just absolutely love her little happy face. I think it's one of the best kits I've ever had the pleasure of having in my collection, and I will never part with either one of them. That kit, for some reason, had a very low edition number. I don't even think it made it to 200, which is just abysmal. It's definitely one of the best kits overall and one of the cutest Down syndrome kits I've ever seen. So I had to make a human and a monster because that's how I am. When I really love something, I have to do every version of it. And Penny is loosely inspired by Pennywise the Clown, although it's not a direct copy of either style, the old Pennywise or the new. But she's definitely she's a cousin, a first or second cousin to Pennywise the Clown, hence the name. But she did not originally have those reptilian eyes. That was kind of an accident. And it's kind of funny because when I was making her, I had originally planned for her to have two different colored eyes. And I put those eyes in, and they weren't really working for me. I just wasn't feeling it. And I put a bunch of other eyes in. She had full black eyes at one point. I was trying all these different combinations, and just nothing was working. And I really wanted her to be finished. I really felt like that was the day that she was going to be done. And I just couldn't get the eyes right. And we had Ems and I had these eyes laying around. I think they were from a sample pack from one of those eye companies. They're like, we'll send you some eyes. And I was like, all right, go ahead and send them. And they were just rolling around in the eye box. I didn't really anticipate ever using them. And I'm looking at them and I'm looking at her, and I thought, you know what? Let's just pop those eyes in. I'm just curious. I just want to see. And the minute I put them in, I was like, oh, there she is. That's Penny. Those are her eyes. Like, and to me, she's just perfect. It added that extra element of creepiness to her, and the questioning of like what's really going on in there. What kind of monster is she? What's going to happen now that I've encountered this monster? Like, it brought her up a notch, and brought the creepy factor up a notch that I don't think I would have achieved with regular eyes. Here is Claudia. She was created by me for my collection. Obviously, she's inspired by Interview with the Vampire. And she usually sits in my living room parlor area. She stands in the corner, I should say. And it's a lot of fun when people come over who are not familiar with my household or the dolls or any of that, like repair people. She scares she scares people. And it's always funny to see them walk in and they're kind of not paying attention, and then they look over and they're like, ah! And they're like, what is that? Where did you get that? I'm like, I made that. They're like, you made that? And then, come all the questions about how these dolls work and how you make them. And it's good fun having her in the house because she's definitely a conversation piece. And I just like having her here. I really do feel she's one of those dolls that I really feel like there's an energy there. And I really just love her. I wish my camera would capture her properly on video. It does pretty good with photos, but I really wanted to do video for this whole series, and it's just washing out her face and her really cool details. She has some epic veining on the sides of her face, and it's evident that there's something going on there besides just the fangs, that she's got this kind of pale monstery appearance to her, but it just doesn't translate with the iPhone camera. And she's the only doll that I have such a struggle with getting her to appear the way she appears in person. And the iPhone camera likes to almost apply like a filter to smooth out your skin, which is very appreciated for folks when you get to my age. However, it's not appreciated when I'm trying to capture details that I've purposely put on a doll. I want to see those reflected back in the camera. So it may be time for me to get an actual video camera and scrap the iPhone. Or maybe it's just time for me to upgrade to a new iPhone. I don't know. You can kind of see them here, but again, it just kind of washes her out and makes everything look very uniform. And when you're making monsters, that's just not ideal. It also likes to change the lighting, as you can see from that shot and this one. It's trying to help me, I think, but it's not helpful because I want all those, monstery details that I've added very much on purpose to this doll. But as uncooperative as she is on video, she is very, very beautiful and very realistic in person. I hope some of that is coming through on the camera, but I absolutely love her. Even if she is stubborn and refuses to cooperate with the camera, I'm still very glad that she's here. So that's going to be it for me today. I hope you all enjoyed the video and the series, and I hope you're having a good 2025 so far. I will see you soon in the next video. Bye!